ask a question. How often do you think about your voice? I don't mean what you say, but how you say it. Most of us, when we have an important meeting to attend, whether that's face-to-face or online, we think about what we're going to say, what we might be asked. If it's face-to-face, we might even think about what we're going to wear. But most of us don't give a lot of thought to the voice itself, which is a shame, because the voice is a hugely important communication tool. It conveys so much more than words alone. It's where we express our emotions, our enthusiasm, and it's where we compel people to listen to us. So over the next 5 minutes or so, I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to maximize your voice, how to have a better voice, possibly, and make a good impression. First off, how many of you like the sound of your voice? Most people say that they don't mind their own voice, but when they hear it recorded, they think, oh, that sounds horrible. That doesn't sound like me at all. That's because we're used to hearing our own voices through what we call bone conduction in our heads, which gives our voices a much richer, deeper sound. When we hear it the way other people hear it, when we hear it recorded, we're hearing it through air conduction, which is a much thinner sound. My voice, when I hear it recorded, always sounds much higher and much more Scottish. The voice in my head sounds more like Joanna Lumley. So we have to get used to the sound of our voice and get to like it. We can do things to change it. I can give people coaching on how to change the sound of their voice, but most often it's a perception. So it's about getting used to it. Record it. We can do that so easily now. Record it, play it back, get used to it, and learn to like it. The other really important thing about our voice is it conveys our thoughts. And if we can think so much faster than we speak, so we sometimes don't always know what we're saying next, and we're thinking about what we're trying to say. So my advice is, before any important meeting, practice what you're going to say. Don't simply write notes. Actually say the words out loud. Speak to yourself. The more comfortable you are saying those words, the more comfortable you'll be in your own voice, and the better an impression you will give. The other thing I'm going to suggest, number 3, is do a vocal warm-up. Again, before an important meeting, think about the sound of your voice. Is it as clear as it could be? Maybe you haven't spoken all day and you've got a bit tired. Like any muscle, it might need to be warmed up. Or perhaps you have been talking all day and your voice has got a little tired. So by doing a vocal warm-up, exercising the tongue and the lips, we can improve our diction. If you want some exercises for this, contact CIPR. My name is Forrest-Turner, and they will send you my tip sheet. So there are exercises you can do for the lips. We can say things like, Betty baked a better batch of buns. It'll feel stupid, but it will warm up. We can do exercises for the tongue. Leave the lazy lion alone. And we can do tongue twisters. 3 thick thugs set 3 thugs free. These are good for getting what I call brain and mouth in gear. So you're ready to speak. You've kind of slowed down and you're ready to deliver well. The next one we're going to talk about is volume. If you feel that your voice isn't quite loud enough, isn't quite strong enough, then you don't necessarily have to shout or even increase the volume too much. Slow down and lengthen the vowel sounds. Remember the old elocution lessons? How, now, brown, cow. Those vowel sounds will give our voice more power. Also, we can raise the pitch slightly. When you think about it, when you shout, it tends to be high, a higher pitch voice. So that will also lift up the volume. Number 5 is about pitch. Pitch is to do with how high or low our voices are. And generally speaking, we consider a lower voice a more adult sound. So sometimes people with higher voices feel that they're not heard as well. That's fine. It's more to do with the conviction. So if you improve your diction, if you slow down, the pitch of your voice doesn't have a huge effect. However, there is one occasion when it's really important to consider the pitch, and that's at the end of your sentences. If you fall into the trap of using what we call Australian questioning intonation, AQI, where you lift your voice at the end of a sentence, everything you say will start to sound like you're asking a question. And even if you're not asking a question, when you're answering a question, it doesn't sound like you're really confident. So you're asked, do you feel you have strong communication skills? And you answer, yes, I have. I've always been told my communication skills are good. And it sounds as if you're thinking, are they good? So at the ends of your sentences, keep them strong. The other thing to be wary of at the ends of sentences is give them conviction. Don't let them drift away. I call it the Made in Chelsea voice, where you can't be bothered finishing your sentences. Everything's a bit sort of, I don't know, I went with a break. So it's really important that you start your sentence strong, good volume, good pitch, lift it in the middle, gives it a little bit of interest, and then come back to the same volume and the same pitch at the end and finish those sentences strongly. I'm clicking on my next slide there. Sorry about that. The other thing to look at is the pace that we speak at. When we speak in normal conversation, we actually speak really fast. 250, maybe even 300 words per minute, 6 words a second, which is fine in conversation. But for that important meeting, for that presentation, for that online conversation, aim to slow down to around 150 words per minute. That's the speed I'm talking now. And you can practice this by reading out 300 words of text. So get a Word document, get it to 300 words, and then time yourself reading it out loud. Use your phone or a stopwatch and aim for 2 minutes. If it seems to be much quicker than that, then train yourself to slow down. If it's much longer than that, then maybe you need to pick up the pace slightly. And that's point number 6. Vary the pace and the pitch. If we talk at the same pace and the same tone for the same length of time, we begin to sound quite monotone. So, as I said earlier, lift your voice a little in the sentences, pick up the pace to show your enthusiasm, and then perhaps bring the pace and the pitch down when it's something serious. The other important thing to do, even if you're talking relatively slowly, is shut up for a while. Pause is hugely effective. To you, it'll feel like a long time. To the people listening, it'll give them time to take in what you've said, and it'll give you time to think about what you need to say next. Which brings me on to point 9, umming and erring. It's very common. These are natural fillers. We use them to show people that we're still talking, that we haven't finished. And when we're not sure what we're going to say, we can, they're not as important as the speaker thinks they are. They're only a problem if they become excessive, if you start to lose confidence because you're very much aware of them, or if your audience has started to hear the ums more than what you're saying. So first of all, don't worry about them too much. The more you worry, the more you'll think about it. Perhaps the more you'll do it. Practice in advance. If you practice what you're going to say, you're far less likely to and vocalize those ums. If you're not sure what you're saying, say it. Say, oh, I've lost my trail of thought there. Let me think about that. It's fine. It's perfectly acceptable. most of the really good speakers will and often when you see people on television or hear them on radio, a producer has edited out a lot of those hesitations. So it's not a major issue. And lastly, point 10, practice listening to yourself. It's easy when we're talking to get carried away by what we're saying. If we slow down, if we listen to our words, it'll give us time to not only think about what we're saying, but think about how we're saying them. Maybe lift the volume, lift the pitch slightly, and most importantly, stop. I hope you found this session useful. If you want some of my voice exercises, contact the CIPR, ask for Lorraine's vocal tip sheets, and good luck with the next meeting. Bye.